So that's a yay happy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wacky Weekend Show. We got me and my co-host Anthony here to entertain you or bore you or whatever you want to call it for the next hour at least. I'm going to say a quick hello to people in the chat. Looks like everybody's sleeping in tonight, or they've got something better on. I'd have something better on too if I had someone good looking hanging on my other shoulder. G'day, Dwight. How are you? Randall, welcome in here. Of course, I've got my mate Anthony here. Mum and son, Tammy and Ray, congratulations. Ray and Tammy, you guys finally made the 1,000. Let's just hopefully stay
cool.
there.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club.
G'day, buddy. Welcome in here. Hopefully we don't bore you too much like last week. We end up putting you to sleep. Hey, at least we could have done something. Who else do I have in here? Steve Pusap. Hey, buddy. Hopefully you're doing all right. Haven't seen you in a while. And we've got Wigwag Workshop. And hello to whoever else is lurking. Oh, there's Les. Good day, buddy. How are you?
Hi, Les. Hi, Dirk at Ohio Steam and Steel. Hi, Steve, 87th PSAP. Stephen at Wigwag Workshop. Randall Ellison was here, said hello, but was leaving. Tammy and Ray, again, hello. Congrats to everybody. And hello to everybody else floating in the background.
I'm back in Tokyo. Oh, that's all right. Peace up. You're not that far from me. You're only a 7-8 hour flight to Sydney from there. Yeah, halfway there. Only, yeah. Yeah. If you catch your evening flight, you'll be here by the morning. You'll be here in time for breakfast. Yeah. Actually, and you want to have, I'm looking at some prices, in going to the US. I know it's a 3-hour drive, but there are introductory flights happening from Canberra to LA at the moment, direct. So they might end up having some sales specials there. I know it's a 3-hour drive to my place.
We haven't booked, but we have found the flights. We're just not gonna stop at New Zealand or Fiji. We're just it adds a couple of thousand per person if we want to stop off at New Zealand or Fiji. So we found a Delta flight that gets us out of Detroit to LA, 4 hours in LA. And I've heard so many bad things about LAX, but it is what it is. We'll survive. We've survived Charles de Gaulle Airport, which is rated as the worst airport in Europe and one of the top 3 worst in the world. And we've survived that 3 or 4 times. So going to LAX should be okay, and then we'll just catch a direct flight from LAX.
I've never had, excuse me, I never had dramas out of LAX. I actually prefer to fly out of LAX to Sydney. We have 4 carriers that fly out of LAX. We've got 4 carriers that fly out of LAX, and they're usually within an hour of one another. And
right,
from a pilot's perspective, even as a passenger, as a regular passenger, you can't be on a better flight going from LA to Sydney.
Okay,
because they all race to get into Sydney, see who gets in first.
Well, after all these years of traveling, where we just, with my students, we always took the cheapest flights I could get the parents. We weren't consistent with one airline.
Yeah.
Since Joyce and I, other than the 1 year we used, twice we used Air Canada, we have used Delta, because Delta has actually been coming up with the cheapest prices for us personally. But now I've got actually a few Sky Miles built up. I'm in their Sky Miles Premier program. So we just want to use Delta to build up. And who knows, maybe we'll get a free trip somewhere down the line, build up some miles. And this should be a big trip all the way across the United States and all the way over to Australia. That should be good. So we have flights, and then we just really got to sit down and decide what date, and then we can start planning what all to do. But we just decided we're going to come to Australia for a couple of weeks and hang out with you.
Okay, good. Well, Delta's good because they come in first thing in the morning.
Too early, 6:05 or 6:55, something like that.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. For me, it's like for me to come up to Sydney at that time in the morning, it's perfect. Less traffic to get up there because we got the peak hour traffic in the morning.
Welcome, Terry Cranes.
G'day, Terry. How are you, buddy? And once you get through customs, it's 8 o'clock and peak hour starts dwindling down, but we're going against the traffic going home anyway. If you wear yourself out enough, like with me, I used to wear myself out at LAX, get on a plane, zonk out. By the time you wake up, you're on the approach into Sydney. They feed you decent breakfast in Delta. And by the time you finish your breakfast, you're coming into Sydney.
Right. Well, we'll see. It's going to be hell, but I've got 7 months to prepare for it.
Yeah, it's okay.
6 months.
But you flying a light plane, is that the question? Is that correct?
Say what?
You flying in a little plane, is that the question? Is that correct?
Depends on how little.
Like
if somebody's thinking of taking me up in a Cessna, no, I'm not riding in a Cessna. But like if it's a little city hopper jet or something like that, like one of those Ryanair little jets, like to go up here or go up there, yeah, we don't have a problem with that. We take those all the time. Like when I would go with my students, it would be Bremen. We would arrive at Charles de Gaulle or Frankfurt or whatever, and then we take a 1 hour KLM city hopper or Lufthansa little mini jet. So I can't over to Bremen because we live near Bremen.
So I can't get in a twin engine Cessna. Okay.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, well, it's okay. I was just thinking of other options. Like there are some places like Uluru and whatnot to save a bit of time. We can jump in a twin engine and fly over there and come back again and do another stops along the way. G'day, Chris. How are you?
Howdy, Chris.
DC3 for the win. Yeah, well, we got a few of those DC3 down here, and I suppose you can get to Uluru from here in one hit. Yeah, it's a bit noisy, but yeah, it'll be fun. I don't know how our mate here will go into an old-fashioned aircraft, but mind you, it is maintained by the former Qantas crew.
Hello, Stormy Sky is here.
Stormy Sky, g'day. How are you? Mike, Putnam Junction, how are you? Welcome. Well, the only reason why I asked because I am looking at getting myself get my license, get current again with my license, and getting a light aircraft is a reasonably cheap because you only pay for the hour of the engines, you don't pay for the day usage like car rentals.
Right.
And to get around to some of the sites, since you're most probably only thinking about being here once and one-time travel, I thought maybe we could get away with flying like from here to Uluru and some of the sites up at the Gold up.
Right. We've decided, and again, I don't want to spend all this show talking about our vacation plans, like, because we spent like the last half hour last week talking about it again. But yeah, we just we made some calls after talking to you online. Well, during the show last week, we just we looked up some things and just have decided we're coming over to Australia, and it's just going to be hanging around with you. Maybe go up to Sydney and then whatever, go down to the ocean. There's some other things we can talk about when we do our call. But at least we've got the main decisions out of the way now. Where last week we were still, we've made the decision. Now it's just find the best flight at the best time. How many days does Joyce want after her work year ends before we take off? Because she does want to keep this trip a little shorter. She thought that 4.5 weeks this past, basically all of June, she thought that was too long. And since we're not going multiple places, we're just she's already said, 2.5 weeks most. And She's the boss in that stuff. So we'll be over in Australia for about 2.5 weeks, and we'll play it by ear. And if an 8-hour train ride somewhere sounds like fun, we'll do it.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Hey, there's Ian and everybody. So no more. I mean, at the risk of sounding rude, let's not talk about my vacation trip.
Okay. Let's go to Taiwan.
Great.
Yeah. Okay. The only reason why he says funny as it sounds. For those who watch my Fun Day Friday, I had 2 clips in there. One was an exhibition layout of the fungal spiral, which is basically the main line for Sydney to Melbourne. And of course, most of the train travels up on the Great Divide. It's got to go to a lower area, so it spirals down to the bottom. It is a portable layout. It does get pulled apart. Eventually, one day, I will go down there to get videos of trains going up and down that mountain. Now, the temple, for those who see my video, whatnot, as you can see the football field that's up across the road from my place, and we've got the hill. The temple is up on the other side of the hill. Now, with the Buddhists, the way they do their temples and whatnot, the opening and the temples do not face the ocean. It cannot face the ocean. It's got to face inland, and it's got to face towards the mountain. So,
they do know they're on an island, don't they? Every direction faces water.
Yeah, but they got their hill that blocks them off from facing the water.
Gotcha.
Right, so it's an ideal. So it looks right up to there and Gemba. Now, the Buddhist monks or the Buddhist temple that's here is related to the Buddhists in Taiwan. If anyone's ever been there, they got an area down the southeastern corner. And to get to their temples, and it's up in the mountain, and if anyone's ever been to Taiwan, they'll have a bit of an idea what it's like. Down in the southeast region, it's all mountainous. And they have multiple temples and whatnot down there. And to get to all of that, the Taiwanese government actually put like a zigzag style spiral railway going up to the top, which is a narrow gauge. G'day, Andy Mano. How are you?
Hello, Andy. The Andy Mano.
Yeah. Now, I would love to go down there one time over to Taiwan.
Hey, but
when it's not their typhoon season, and go and have a look at it. It's a 2-hour train trip from Taipei down to there, and the scenery in the rainforest is just remarkable. So I threw that in. I'll throw in a bits of scenery and sights around here for everybody to get an idea what this area is about. Am I advertising as a tourist consultant for the region? Yeah, kind of. But I just get people to get a feel of what it's like where I live. G'day, PK. How are you? And as you see, I have not seen a spider yet, and I have not seen any snakes yet. As you come to talk about the creatures in the bush, I still haven't seen a koala. That is something that we could work on. Seeing a koala in the wild.
That would be cool. To be honest, that would be cool. And even kangaroos, just to see things that instead of seeing them at the zoo, seeing them in their natural habitat.
G'day, John.
So just find us a Outback man's bedroom, and we'll see a couple of koalas, or a couple of kangaroos,
Yeah, the other creatures I really love to see, and they're very hard to get a hold of or get to see, is the platypus. Now,
seeing them in the right way, yeah, with their little poisoned heels, don't need that.
Yeah, Kendra, it's all right. I've got to go and talk to your other boyfriends up north, up in Symbio. They got a lot of stories about you.
Yeah, well, you still owe them money, bitch.
I stole the money. What about all
you owe them money? You know you owe them money.
Well, what about all those false claims of child endowment that you've been claiming, huh? Yeah, we know
Nothing
all
false
about
about it. Wait till I show everybody the pictures of the baby. You can't deny the fatherhood anymore.
it. Oh, yes, I can. um, yeah, the platypus is one of the hardest creatures to find in the spot.
So we have read.
Yeah, very, very hard. There is a couple spots up the top here.
John from Schuylkill River Valley is here, and Mike from Putnam Junction is here. Good morning, Mike. Not sleeping again tonight, are we?
Yeah, Mike. Yeah. Well,
Mike and Sue. Hello.
We might end up putting them to sleep. You know what we like. What is it? I only show the video of that dog stealing a kangaroo. Oh, I haven't got that. Oh, that one there is actually quite amazing. That video, we've even seen it on the video on TV here, and that's a big grade. The big reds are actually a little bit bigger. Now, the guy that owns the dog and then the property, he was an off-duty cop. He's a police officer in the outback or out in the scrub. Well, I tell you what, even if you were that kangaroo, you'd get really annoyed as well. G'day, Robin. How are you?
Hey, Robin's here. Hi, Robin. And hey, Trainmaster.
When you're busy pleasing your partner in the kangaroo's way, term partners, because they got multiple, and you got a dog coming in yakking and barking and carrying on disturbing a person quiet, you'd get upset too, and you'd want to drown that dog too. Mailing address for you. I have something for you. Oh, okay, that sounds interesting. Not that Bill. G'day, Trainmaster. How are you? Welcome on board here. Yeah, so during this time of the year, it's nice to see the kangaroos, but you keep a nice little distance away from them. Particularly with the males, they can get aggressive, particularly further up north. And when they stand up and get ready to put a bit of weight on their tail, I tell you what, they're 7 foot tall and they built really strong. I mean,
oh, they flex. It is so funny. Of any animal out there, kangaroos actually flex.
When they flex, you know you're in the trouble. Do you see the claws on that? Oh yeah. And even the koalas, as cuddly as they can and could be, once they get, you don't want to hang around with them either.
Every time I see male kangaroos in that situation where they're flexing, I just go back to old 80s and 90s WWF, WWE, professional wrestling. I just keep waiting for them to talk in like Randy Macho Man Savage, like, oh, yeah, what you gonna do, brother? You know, or, oh, yeah, you know.
I have actually had a big red come into the windshield of inside the cab of my truck when I was driving. And when again, for the Americans, when I refer to truck, I refer to as rigs. And that was up in the Northern Territory at the far end. And he made a big, let's put it this way, I managed to stop the truck and I just let him go for it. I mean, he wasn't happy. He kicked the daylights inside the truck. I mean, he smashed it inside to pieces. And it gives him, and if anyone sees what the Kenworth trucks were like back in the day, they're built pretty tough and strong. When they start kicking inside the dashes and the windshield and everything else, you know how much power there is behind those back legs. I'll see them in a distance, and like with anything, and they're in a distance, leave them alone. If you leave them alone, they won't bother you. Not like with the bears. I mean, the bears will still follow you to see what kind of goodies you got in your pocket.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like here in the United States, we have repopulated. They're not nearly as big as they were 150 years ago, 170 years ago, but we've got the buffalo. And when you go through Yellowstone Park, There are signs everywhere that says, do not approach the buffalo. Do not approach the buffalo. And they even have some, I don't want to say sarcastic signs, but it says a buffalo can run at 35 miles an hour. The fastest human can run at 25. The average human weighs 200 pounds. The buffalo weighs 3,500 pounds. Do not approach. You cannot outrun. And they are territorial and aggressive. And yet, anytime there's a herd of buffalo at Yellowstone Park, there's 80 cars pulled along the side of the road and people with their cameras. And you have the stereotype, and I kid you not, because I've got video of it, the stereotype, the Japanese tourist running down the hill, oh, buffalo, and just people from around the world. But the ones that just always stand out are the Japanese family. The guy's got his camera and his wife and kid are chasing buffalo, going. It's like, did you not catch the sign? And you're yelling at them, don't. And it's just, don't leave them alone. They're bigger than you. They're badder than you. So yeah, I would, even with a kangaroo, at least I am literate enough to know that a kangaroo will kick my ass if I piss it off.
Oh yeah. The only breed of kangaroo that's really hard to spot in our area is the wallaby. Now, the wallaby are the smaller breeds.
Right.
They'd probably be about the size of a kid, a young child. Or the rock wallabies. And you see them up around the escarpment here, if you can get to see them. But the problem with them is, when they sense you coming, they go and hide. They're not going to hang around. The greys and whatnot, they're different because they know they are big. But the little wallabies, no, they go off. And but I remember one time, I love the Asian tourists. I really, really do love the Asian tourists. I mean, they're so friendly, but they just do not get on with what's going on around them. Now, the organisation I was with, we used to do beach patrols and in a fixed wing aircraft. And what that beach patrol is basically shark spotting was the main role. Like, we used to go along the beaches in the summertime, like now, and have a look at and maintain where all the sharks are, reporting to the beach. Now, there is one little bay down the coast here. It's called Jervis Bay.
Hello, Corey.
G'day, Corey. How are you? Now, of course, there is sharks in there. We do occasionally get whales down there. But a lot of tourists go down there on weekends from Sydney. And I don't know if anyone ever watched Jaws. Jaws did go in the shallow water. Sharks will go in shallow water. But mind you, Jaws wasn't shot here. That was taken up off the coast of Boston. So I'm not going to war in Boston. That's too dangerous up there. But there was...
See, the bad ones, because, Jaws was the great white, but the really aggressive human killer is the bull shark.
The bull shark?
Those are the ones that are now... they are adapting that they can actually go into... areas where fresh water is flowing into salt, and they can go up to through fresh water for a ways.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they are where great whites will accidentally kill a human. That's why it's always one bite and they don't finish them off. They bite into us and go, "Oh shit, what was that? Oh, come on, I thought that was seal." And
yeah, exactly.
But the bulls eat humans.
The bulls, but then you got the mako sharks, which are like the adolescent teenagers, and they'll just make trouble just for the fun of it. Now it looked like a bull shark, or it would look like a little bull shark that was, or a mako that was actually eyeing. There was 3 people in the water, and it was shallow water. It was probably about just below waist deep. and there was 3 of them, and we spotted it. Lucky we spotted it when we did, and I think that shark was trying to pick which one of the 3 we wanted to take, and you can just see it was going 1, 2, 3. Now we end up circling, and we go out without speakers and anyone and sirens and trying to tell people, go out in the water. Get out the water. There's a shark there. Get out the water. And it was so funny because here they are sitting down there, looking up and it's going, hi, hello. It's like, get out of the water.
Right. And that's the thing, because, there should be a warning sign, because the bull sharks don't just swim around. You'll see the bull sharks. They're out there with a fork and a knife, putting on a bib. One of them's yelling, hey, who's got the Tabasco sauce?
Exactly.
So yeah, get out of the water.
It was like the people at the cafe there, and it was in a place called Huskerson. And it was like the guy that was down the cafe, he came out running because he looked up and saw the plane circle around. He was running away, knew what it was going, and he just went up like this to it's gone in and told those people to come out, and they just gone, woo.
That's a good line. I like that one.
Wonder how much risk really would it take for the headhoods of fish to get the taste of Corey.
Yeah. The great whites are swimming around going, anybody got a certs, a mitt? Oh, I can't get that tasty human out of my mouth. Worse, it was Australian. Ugh, they're nasty. Ugh.
Yeah, they definitely, too much Vegemite in their blood. That's why they don't eat it.
Yeah, like, oh, that one had Vegemite before I ate them. Damn.
And the thing is, and we didn't know about it. I mean, we slowly learned about all this, about the Jervis Bay down there. And it was one northeast corner of the bay. We didn't know that, but it was an area where the sharks would come up and basically that's where the breeding ground is for the sharks, and you have the little nursery for the baby sharks. The most placid out of all of them will be the grey nurse, and there was one.
Nurses are.
Yeah. I may have taken Robin down there. It's called Green Patch. It's part of the northern.
You have to get one of those naughty nurse sharks. Oh, I'm sorry, that's a different story altogether.
Yeah, that's a different nursery there, Anthony.
Can I take your temperature?
No, you cannot. It was a quite decent size. It was quite a decent size. I would say it would have been close to about 16, 17 foot long, which is quite a decent size for a grey nurse. And she was happy. We worked it out as a she because there was some young ones and that with it. But it will swim around Green Patch Beach and whatnot, and then it will swim out to the headlands and back outside. And for that 20 years, I think I've seen that shark every season for nearly 12 of them. No one ever had any dramas. We knew it was there. If it was there, the others won't come. Of course, we did have some northern fishermen that came in there and spear fishermen and got rid of it, unfortunately. But it was a good size shark. Very nice area there. Listerine.
You speak my language. Oh yeah. He just gave me a Vegemite sandwich.
Yeah, but there is a rule, and a lot of people don't follow it. It's like when we used to do it, we used to always turn around and tell the people, the 2 worst times to go into the beach is morning
or night.
Or night. Where the sun comes up and the sun goes down. Why? What do every creature does during sun up and sundown? It's breakfast and dinner. They're going out to feed for the night, aren't they? Or having their breakfast. G'day,
Yeah, and I
Trax.
know we weren't going to talk about vacation, but here we go, because Joyce and I, one of the things we want to do while we're down there is go swimming in the ocean.
Oh, they're not around here at that time of the year. They're few and far between.
Okay, good.
Um,
Because we've only been in the ocean, the official ocean, once, and that was the Atlantic Ocean, and we had to get out because there were jellyfish all over.
I've got to say, you will have one advantage of going to this particular beach at Port Kembla. Since you don't like flying, you can take Hawaii off the list because the sand that's down here is at many beaches. Oh, it's not on your list? Well,
No. Our list, our travel list is so many places in Europe before we even want to go anywhere else. Asia is not anywhere in Asia is not on our list. The Pacific Islands not on our list. Australia is a curiosity for us, and since we got people we know down there now, we're going. But that might be the only time we go that way. Actually,
the one thing I would really love to do in Asia, well, there's two things I'd like to do. I'd like to get up to there. No.
it doesn't involve Thailand. Okay, good.
No. Definitely wasn't Thailand or Bali.
You got to peek under the skirts on those.
You got to do it. You got to do a Paul Hogan on that one. You got to make sure it's not lumpy when you grab it. That's
what Joyce and I are going to do. We're going to walk all around Australia doing that, saying, we thought that was Paul Hogan said that was the natural greeting in Australia.
There's only two areas you can do that, but be careful, you won't get picked up. I'd love to go back to Japan and have a little bit of a look around in Japan, but I want to take that high-speed train to Shikanzo.
Hi, Trackside Mike.
I did say hi to him.
I did say hi.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, that's right. Yeah, we were busy talking about sharks. I like to take the full length of that, but I like to stop at a few little locations along the way. I have done it once, but I would love to, and that was basically just go to the line, get the next train, and come back up again. But I want to sightsee Japan and the people in Japan. And Steve Pusap is, if he's still here, he'll vouch for him. Majority of the people over in Japan are very polite. They're not as rude as their tourists as we get them over here. I would actually just love to have a look around. And the other spot I like to go is down to Taiwan, as I just said at the beginning of the show.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to go down the southeast corner and have a look at the Buddhist monk area. I'm Christian, but with the temple and the Buddhists and the beliefs that they got over here, it's so interesting. But I'd like to go for that train ride going up there to Escarpment, because they do still use a steam train going up there. And being narrow gauge, it just circles around going up. Beautiful scenery. I thought I had the photos here of what was given to me by this lady that I used to date at the time. She was from down there. She's the one that mentioned it to me. But I would love to go down there. And even just Taiwan itself. I mean, Taiwanese people are quite friendly too. I find them, because we do have a big mixed culture of Asians over here in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
I actually find them a bit more welcoming than the mainland Chinese. Mainland Chinese, they're a little bit, let's put it this way, they're a little bit different. Out of the Pacific Islands, I would like to go to Fiji, spend a bit of time in Fiji, but I would like to go over to, I don't know if anyone's watched that movie Castaway with John Hanks.
Yeah, but never saw it.
Never saw it. It's actually a brilliant movie, and I believe it is actually, if I remember right, I believe it may be based on a true story. because there was a plane that did go down there many, many years ago, and it was an airliner. They couldn't find. There was one survivor. The survivor turned up many years after the actual crash.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the island where that got filmed is just off to the north, again, northeast corner of Fiji. So that island does exist. I have been trying to plot the map of where they were trying to make the movie, and there is some amazing estuaries and some amazing, they're not estuaries, atolls, little islands up there, and I would just love to go out there and explore it, either fly over there or get a yacht and just go up there. I mean, I'm getting close to it where I'm going to be retiring, so I've got to find something else to do apart from just running trains, and I've always been the type of person who loved to travel. And I've done countless trips across the Pacific, and they shook a buying in Castaway and Pole Express, and a few conspiracy theories with it for the hell of it. Well, what? Don't start that, Corey. Don't start that. I mean, the Polar Express, we all know trains don't need rail to travel on. And look at the grades. I mean, people say you can't have steep grades, but they have it on Polar Express. Steam engine runs up and down. It's nice. I went to Solomon Islands years ago. Amazing. A lot of World War II equipment on the beaches and in the jungles. Yeah, so I heard Ohio Steam, and there are a lot of other islands and whatnot up north, and they're still finding material and stuff from World War II. Just had a Jacaranda festival here in Grafton, and the dead set dangerous driving around our city with the Japanese. Oh, yeah, well, yeah, they are pretty dangerous driving. That's why I don't go driving in Cabramatta. Cabramatta is western region of Sydney, where you have the large enclave of Asians. But it's they walk backwards out onto the road, obviously into traffic. They're not just Asians, Les. They're called Queenslanders. Hang on. Let me just duck it the way. Robin might come around and give me a slap. Yeah.
Aim that way.
But it's
I'm just the co-host here.
Yeah, it's obviously it's like this new generation you see walking around these days. They're like in their phones and forget about surroundings and just walk out in front of the traffic and they bite yours, Artie. G'day, Ray. How are you?
Hi, Ray.
You see, Les. I knew we were going to get a bite out of that one. And poor Robin, she's all on her poor lonesome. She hasn't got Marty there to back her up this time. We better not pick on Queenslanders, eh? Even if they are behind the rest of Australia by 1 hour and on the east coast, and they do put their number plates back to the front to the rest of the east coast, and yeah, it's like a rivalry between the states and the United States. You've got some states that always have it. The other ones.
Like, we have a joke now. There are 1,000 variations of this joke. I'm sure everybody's probably heard it before, but a guy from Ohio walks into a bar and he gets a drink and he says, "Hey, bartender, I got a joke for you. It's about how stupid people from Michigan are." And the bartender looks at him and says, "I'm from Michigan. You see that 6'3", 240-pound guy right there? He's from Michigan. You see the guy next to him, 6'4", 245 pounds? He's from Michigan. You see their buddy next to him, 6'1", 260 pounds? He's from Michigan. Now, do you want to tell that joke?" And the Ohio guy says, "Nah." And the bartender says, "I didn't think so." And the Ohio guy goes, "Because I don't want to have to explain it 3 times."
Okay, bang bang. Yeah. But
So I suppose you could use that in Australia the same way with your regional differences, just changed the locations.
yeah, but you see, down in Melbourne, down in Melbourne and in Victoria, which is another state. Because on the east coast, we've got three states. We've got Queensland up the top. I'm talking to mainland. Tasmania, we actually class Tasmania as a female. What's the word? A female anatomy. Tasmania, map of Tasmania. Yeah, we classify that as female anatomy. Tasmania usually gets left out, but you got Queensland, New South Wales, and Victoria. Victorians we class as Mexicans, and if I do have Mexicans here, I'm sorry, we are not being racist here or whatnot, but we class,
Southerners.
yeah, we just class them as Southerners because they are the South, and majority of the troublemakers are there. Queenslanders, well, look, Queenslanders are a nice bunch of people. They are laid back, so I've got nothing against the Queenslanders, except for that they cheat during the rugby league state of origin. But when it comes to certain times of year, I mean, they are slower than Sydney, even Brisbane. I mean, Brisbane's slowly picking up, but they're slower up there. And when I say number plates, they're backwards. In New South Wales, we have 3 letters, then 3 numbers. Victoria used to have 3 letters, 3 numbers. Of course, you have your state, Victoria and whatnot. Marty Jenkins gave a presentation in Aussie Railroad's crazy. Yeah, but they're improving on that. Except for Queensland. See, Queensland's still behind on that too. I mean, they haven't gone to standard gauge on the main line on the east coast, where majority of the main line from the Queensland border right across to Perth and from the coastlines all gone standard. But anyway, apart from your state being, your letters and whatnot, the 2 East Coast states have 3 letters, 3 numbers. You go to Queensland, they got 3 numbers, then 3 letters. They got it back to front. May well be other countries here just as hard. Yeah, we might as well be. I mean, sometimes, Queensland at the time, I mean, when you look at some of the infrastructure, there are narrow gauge, and there are always been an advantage between broad gauge, narrow gauge, and standard gauge. I mean, up the far north end, the narrow gauge is actually a lot better to where they go on, and when they have washouts and whatnot, it's a lot easier and quicker to repair. There is no way we convert to standard gauge. Well, that's the other thing too, Robin. The Queensland has got now currently the biggest operating rail network in this country. New South Wales, my state, it's cut back at least 40% of its network, if not 45% of the network. Victoria, Knoll, which is further south, it cut out close to 50% of its network. And as Les was saying here, who was it? PK, he was saying like Marty Jenkins, which is a member of the NMRA here.
Mm-hmm.
It was very inefficient to run freight on rail here in Australia up until probably 10, 12 years ago, because particularly going up to the north when we get most of our produce, to run produce from there to Melbourne or into Sydney, it's not efficient to send it by rail. It has to go by road. The double handling, the triple handling, and whatnot, it just takes too long by rail.
Okay.
So it goes by road, and it can go straight to the farm, pick it up the farm. Either goes to now they either go to the market or they'll go straight to a fast food to a supermarket chain. Our two main supermarket chain is Coles and Woolworths. Okay, we got Aldi too, so they get everything here. We there are many times we go direct from the farms, direct into their warehouses. On general, on the East Coast, most produce will be picked from the farm to the shops within 48 hours. With rail, they can't do that because they've got to double handle the containers between the gauges, and then when it gets to destination, it's got to wait for the route to go in to get unloaded. And of course, passenger trains got priority during peak time, so if the freight train's running late, it's got to sit and wait until there's a gap to get in between. So when you do fruit fly inspectors and those coming from Cali, yeah, well, they're not doing a good job there, Ray. But when we go to the south, as Les was saying, fruit fly inspectors, there is a lot of wineries down in the south, and there's a lot of apples, peaches, and a lot of stone fruits and whatnot down in the south. And they want to protect it. So that's why we've got the fruit fly inspections. I noticed yesterday I went up the mountain up here to Mittagong Barrel. It's now a quarantine zone, so any plants and whatnot you want to bring in there, it's got to be approved. You cannot just bring any grapevines in there. But yeah, all out. But there is still a lot of bulk commodity going by rail, say your toilet paper, your canned goods, non-perishable stuff. They're still going by rail.
Oh, hi, John.
G'day, John. How are you? Mystic, how are you? But you'll see majority of stuff does go by road. Now we got bigger trucks traveling up and down on the East Coast. Yes, we have the B doubles. Now we got what we basically is almost like a road train, but a shorter version of it. The drawbar is about 4 foot shorter. So there's more freight going between two major capital cities, and it gets there quicker. But again, they taken a lot of the rail infrastructure out. They taken a lot of the sidings out. They taken a lot of the branch lines out. As I said before, a lot of the railways here was run by the state government. It was actually government run, and they just didn't want to keep maintaining the infrastructure. Mm-hmm. One area in particular, one line we used to go down to Tumut, and Les will know this. Used to go through a place called Gundagai. It straddles some of it straddles the part of the Hume Highway. Hume Highway is the main artery the main highway between Sydney and Melbourne. Yes, we do have steam trains. We got, I think, 6, 7 in operation here within Sydney. Now that line was still in operation. What was it? Early 80s to mid 80s. They still had trains running down there, and it it was ideal for the sheep because a lot of sheep were going from down that area and cattle from there up to the main abattoirs in Sydney. And of course, the abattoirs are now gone. Where the main abattoirs, and that used to be in Sydney, they built the Olympic Park. And the other produce that used to come from down that way is your pears and your apples from around German and Long area.
Always love that word, though.
What's that?
Abattoir. It comes from a Latin word abatus, which means to slice, cut, butcher. Abattoir. But in French, like everything in French, no matter how rude it is, it sounds like it sounds so nice. Abattoir. Honey, we're going to this hotel. It's called Le Abattoir. Oh, it sounds lovely.
Yeah.
Probably done on purpose for the sheep and the cows and everybody. Guys, go on in. It's safe. It looks bad. No, it's an abattoir. Ooh, sounds nice. Ooh, and off they go in.
Yeah. But I wasn't aware of this, and I don't think Feliz was either. When I lived down in the southern region, when I lived in a place called Cooma, around that area, there was a lot of farming and basically a lot of farming and whatnot. That I thought it was only just farming related. And when I live in an area, I like to go and tour to see what's around. And I'm intrigued about the old towns. And Les will probably know he's passed the turn-offs that many times for the place called Adelong. It's a little town in the middle of nowhere. I mean, the town is probably about an eighth of the size of my suburb, Berkeley, or what you can see around in front of me. When I was there, had 4 pubs. Now it's down to 1. But I wasn't aware of it. It actually used to be an old gold mining metropolis. It was a city. It was about 10 times bigger than what it is now. They had, and they still see, you have, what you call them, the mine shafts going into the side of hills where the old gold mines used to be. And I'm like, oh, cool. Now I know where I can go gold panning. We know that we had gold rush on the other side of the Blue Mountains, but I never thought we had anything down there. And you just come across it. You go for a drive, and that's one of the things I used to always like, and I do it in the US too when I'm there for a break. Fill the car up, pick a road and see how far it takes me and what I come across. What's your favorite train? The train that's on the tracks. Okay.
Your favorite? Let's split it up. Your favorite real life train or two, and then your favorite model train. Let's have some fun with that.
Okay, my favorite train out of them all, I would say, would be the Class 52 steam engine. Which is in Europe, is based on the German steam engine back from World War II. Scott Rails, how are you?
Hello, good evening, Scott Rails.
Neither myself or Anthony's got an example of it, but it's a 210. And there are still some in existence in Bosnia still running. That's my favourite. I've got to say that will be one of my favourites. And even from the age of 10, 59 class for you? Okay. In Australia, my favourite, I've got to say I've got 2 favourites. My all-time favourite real engine, both model, I would say my model would be my 70 class, and it's a little switcher. That little switcher you will see in a lot of my videos, that one there. And, of course, the not quite modern, but the first generation diesel, the 44 class diesel.
Okay. Okay.
82 class diesel. Yeah, I'd like the
There you
82.
go.
The 82 class diesel is a nice one too, and it's basically a bone shape. It's got a cab on either end, and the motive power and whatnot that's in it is based on the SD60. A nice looking engine, yeah. But I've got the 70 class, which is basically a little switcher that's got connecting rods that used to run around here, and I used to love watching it. Before I was driving, and even when I was driving, the green chili yard used to go past it. It used to do the switching between the steel plant and the marsh in the yard, and I'd always have a look and see how many of those engines were in the yard doing the switching.
Okay.
Most of the time, they were always paired up in two because of horsepower.
It's cool.
And there's only two of them still in existence, with only one still in operation. And that one's up with me, out of the 70 class. That's the one with the big yellow front on it, and they still use it, do all the switching up there. My favorite US Waco, I was going to have to say this, but my favorite American engine that I like, the modern one, is the AC6000, the modern one.
Okay.
Out of the steam engine, I've got to say it would be the Allegheny. The Allegheny was a very powerful engine and was based for mountain operation up through the mountains in West Virginia and up through that area. I just have a thing for mountains. I enjoy the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
As you know yourself, Anthony, when you go through them, they got endless trails. I mean, there's all sorts of things that you see in there. But all time, I think I still go back to my little switcher. Actually, I'll go and get it. Hey, Sparky, what did I miss this time? Anything bad? Yeah, we were talking about how Canadians taste so good for the sharks down here in Australia. Yeah, they love Canadian meat. Back in the day.
Yeah. Well, so I'll go ahead and mention mine, but I don't necessarily have a favorite locomotive. To me, especially modern era steam locomotives, I do have a favorite steam locomotive, even though I'm not into steam. It's the Mallard from the UK, the whole A4 series, but the Mallard because it set the speed record at one time. So that is definitely my favorite locomotive if I have one. But as a model, my Hornby one that runs down on my floor down there is a piece of crap. So my favorite model locomotive, it might be my Class 320, which I don't have here right now, but it's a big yellow one that I just got recently because it's a beast. I love it. And my favorite trains, now my favorite model train is my ICE3 and my ICE4. My ICE4, which isn't a great runner on my layout, but it's got so many really cool functions. You can make all the pantographs go up and down individually. You can do all these different lighting effects in it, and I'm a geek for the tech stuff that way. But my IC3 is just smooth runner, beautiful train. I love the German IC3. In real life, my favorite train is the Austrian Railjet. I got to ride on one of those, and it was amazing. The second class, economy class on a Railjet is as good as first class on a lot of trains. It's really nice. And first class on the Railjet's amazing. Joyce and I splurged when we went from Salzburg to Vienna this past summer, and we did pay for first class tickets. They had a sale on them, so it was only $65 each. No, $65 total. It was a nice deal. And so we rode, it was just something else. It was a beautiful, beautiful train and a beautiful ride, in that part of the Alps. because we had some beautiful train rides. We took a couple of trains through the Black Forest, and then when we went down to Salzburg from Stuttgart, and then we went from Stuttgart to Salzburg, Salzburg to Vienna was amazing. And then back in 2017, we went from Dresden to Prague, and that was you went through these mountains called the Erzgebirge, the Ore Mountains, and you came through them, and then you get into the Czech Republic, and all of a sudden it's the flatlands. It's near that area known as Silesia, which was just throughout the Middle Ages. Everybody fought over it for its amazing farmlands, and was just wide open spaces. And then when you look behind, you just saw the row of mountains, hills behind you. That was just amazing. That was so cool for us. And he just buggered off again. He's buggered off. So Randall says, my favorite steam locomotive would be between the Frisco 1522 and the Frisco 4500, aka the Meteor. Sounds cool. And Berkshires were amazing. Delaware and Hudson class K62. See, when people start mentioning the American stuff, that's probably the ones I know the least. I understand the wheel arrangement, but the minute you say a K62 or you say this or that or the other thing, I understand 282, 462, all that, but I know German trains. German trains are really the only ones, and I only know modern era. I can't sit here and tell you steam eras. New Haven 210-2. There you go. But I've been trying to learn some of the new American diesel, the modern American diesel. Randall tries to educate me on the 40s and the 44s and the differences between the different, on that. But an SD80 Mac. But because that's the thing. I have bought more trains, more models in the last 2.5 years of this hobby than I did in the previous 5.5. I have as I closed in on retirement and everything else, I've got so many, and I've bought so many cool logos. But when I'm traveling and I see the trains and traveling by the trains, I tend to look at the cars and the liveries. I'm not looking specifically at the locomotives. I'm not into locomotives, so a class 101 in Germany versus a class 146, they all kind of look, it's a locomotive. If it's got a cool livery, then I'm like, wow, that's cool. But I don't look at a locomotive and go, oh, I just love the design of that. Now with steam, I'm not into steam, although I now have 5 or 6 steam locomotives. But what I like to do with steam is, having grown up with a father who was in the trades and taught me as much of the trades as I would learn, I just look at steam locomotives and it just, to see the piping, to see the steel, and just go, men and women built that. It's not, and obviously the modern stuff is still built, but it's just something about the engineering, had to be more ingenious at the time. It wasn't computer aided. It wasn't computer design. It was guys, iron fitters, ironmongers, boiler makers, just busting their butts and putting those things together. And
when you see them build the side rods, the connecting rods, the side rods on them, out of a big lump of steel, it's been forged, it's been hammered and forged into what it is. But when you see it on the side of an engine, you go, that must have been on one single cast, or it was machined. I mean, okay, they did machine to clean it up, but yeah, when you see the old time videos of when they built it, it's like, that was some amazing, incredible work that they did. I'm glad that they're not going to get rid of it. But on the way out of Central Station, there is the old rail facility where they actually built a lot of the steam engines, like the 38 class steam engine and whatnot. And they got videos of when they used to work in there. Now, on the other side of the railway, of course, you've got a series of 8 tracks going through there. It's like a big major junction. On the other side of it was the retro and car shops where they used to make all the old wooden passenger cars. And even some of the old steel cars, except for some of the air conditioned, like the Indian Pacific or whatnot, they was made a bit further up. But all the old wooden cars, like what I'm doing, like these ones, for example, they were all made in Sydney, and the craftsmanship that was involved in it was just amazing. So it's almost a similar colour scheme, isn't it?
Yeah, very similar.
So this is what I was telling you. I can get you some of these to go with your Flying Scotsman.
Oh, that would be interesting. Except, yeah, as long as we can change out the couplers.
Oh yeah, you can change the couplers.
Yeah. My HO LMS to run with that HO Flying Scotsman I have.
Well, that'd be good.
But that will probably not be seen. I still want to see if I can get a couple more of those HO Lima LMS cars. If I can get a couple more and make a nice rake of 5. But yeah, I'll do right before Christmas. I do my Steamer Palooza, and I have enough steam trains to run nothing but steam trains.
Yeah. Well, there's my favorite, and let me just bring it up.
Oh, that's a cute little guy.
That's my little favorite, and that was the only one of her kind.
You got that right, Mystic.
What's that?
Nothing.
Anthony is longer. Yeah, but he's thinner. He's as thin as a pencil. This was the only one of her class that had the yellow, or what we call a reverse yellow color scheme on it. And this one is still in existence and it still works up in the museum. They did work, and they were actually predominantly designed to work around the harbour here at Wollongong to replace the old steamers. And they pretty much came out the year I was born. So it's got a few little significance in it. Mm-hmm. And I tell you what, even this little engine, while I was doing my constructing on my layout, it's been a miracle worker, because I've got automation on my layout for those that actually seen it, and to do the blocks and seeing and checking out to see if everything's working right. That's been my test engine. I do have another 4 of these, and it's a good little engine. I like it. I love it. Just when you come over, don't forget to bring my roll jet over as well, okay?
Yeah, that'll happen as soon as hell freezes over.
Yeah, well, it is freezing up down there. The fire's going out. Nickel plate steam. Yeah, they had some nice steam engines. I've got to say, nickel plate did have. I do have some of these steam engines, but do have some of the Berkshires here as well.
Yeah. Now I just got to clarify something for John here, and something you said, Artie. All right. See, I was holding this up, and he's saying mine's longer, and you said something about, yeah, but mine was thinner. Yeah, but this is just when I feel like showing. This is when I'm excited.
Are we talking about passenger trains? Okay.
This is just when I'm showing. Okay. This is when I'm excited. Good night, folks.
Okay, people. That's it. The classification's gone.
Thanks for coming. Try the veal.
It's gone from MA plus 15 to 18 plus. Okay, no problem. Mind you, that changed a long time ago, didn't it? Talking about Tasmania.
Who knew when I accidentally got the 00 cars before I could get the proper HO cars that I'd be able to use them in a joke like that?
Oh, was you looking at it as a coffee pot? Yeah. I don't know if she still exists or not, but yeah, the coffee pot, that was a very, very popular, especially down south. Oh God. Here we go. What, Andy? What? It's still a G-rated show with that one. Yeah, it is a little bit. Papa John, how are you?
We'll leave it to your imaginations as to whether it goes above PG.
Yeah, well, no, well, I'm MA plus 15, so I'm fine. I'm okay. But this is, I would say.
Yeah, but that plus 15, is that metric or imperial?
What's that?
Nothing, never mind.
Now, I don't know what measurement, I don't know whether they use metric or imperial on this. Excuse me, but basically that's a colour scheme I pretty like. Take the yellow at the front of it.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
a modified version, but I like my Tuscan red or Tuscan brown and Indian red and whatnot. That's colours I like. I grew up with it, I suppose. And it lasted. It lasted a long period. Like we talk about prototypical running and g'day Joe, how are you? And it was one of the chaps. There's one of the chaps that had that blue and yellow double deckers. What was his name again? Was it Mark from?
I don't know. It's your story.
He done a video this week where he bought the Pico double deckers, or he's got the old ones out, and they had two.
Mark, my buddy Mark at Model Train Fantasia.
That's it, yeah. And he was showing how the different color schemes are. It's like, well, we had it up here in Sydney when we had the PTC Brew. They had 2-3 different variations. They were hooked up together. But with the color scheme itself, the Tuscan color or the Indian red color started in the late 50s when the first lot of diesel started coming out and lasted right up to 92, 93. So there's a big era that can...
Cough. Sorry, I was just adding the sound effects.
Okay, great. No, that was a bad one. It's a long period where I can actually run the same color scheme, and they have so many different variations, different models in that color scheme. And of course, some of us end up getting American engines and painting it up as well. Yes, just for the fun of it. Now I'm hoping to be back in my room next week. I was hoping to.
It's right next to you. You can go into it right now.
No, I can't. There's too many obstacles in the way. It's a mess. It's a mess at the moment. I'm doing a little project. When you come over, you'll see what I mean. I'm very cramped for room in there at the moment. But when I'm doing something, there's even less room. But it's all right. It's only me, myself, and I with the rabbit. Well, the rabbit doesn't go in there. She's not around in there yet.
Well, deflate the blow-up doll and come on. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, the blow-up doll might fit. Hang on, let me just get her. Yeah, the blow-up will actually fit.
Yeah, I just one of the things I got model train related is I got a bunch of figures this week for my Big Gulch diorama that I am been just slowly working on, but I've been buying figures, and I stumbled across a couple of sets to be the women of the Itchy Crotch. So that was quite an interesting delivery when Joyce was like, "What did you get those for?" That's the ladies of the Itchy Crotch. She's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Yeah, I have actually seen C6 Mad. I haven't met him, but yeah, I've seen some of his videos. One of the guys I have met in person, or a couple of them, actually we have Les, that's here from We USA. He actually came down here, but with Les and I, we would have, I vaguely remember him. I don't really remember him from my childhood, but we both worked for the same guy. I actually ended up driving one of the trucks that he built. And again, as I said, trucks, I'm referring to rigs. He built a rig out of bits of everything. And the other chap that I have met is Creepy013. He lives down at Goulburn, which is just down the road from, well, about an hour and a half, 2 hours down the road from me here. Actually, I'm going to go down and give him a visit before Christmas, see how he's doing. because I haven't seen too much of him lately. I do have to try to get a hold of Greg. I haven't found his phone number yet. But I'll have to get a hold of Greg, see how he's doing, because I have not seen him anywhere. Yeah, so I'm just pretty much running it. I've got to fine tune my layout at the moment. There's a few bits and pieces I've got to fix up. Looking at the wheels of this, geez, they need parts on the back fence of the yeah. You probably would have done that too. Yeah, I've got to. This engine needs a bit of work. As you can see, the wheels are pretty filthy. They need a bit of a clean. I'm working on redoing some of the engines as well, some of the older Tronarama 44s. I went up the Southern Highlands yesterday. I need to get some parts for these engines. I need to get these gears for it. Because I've got split gears, so I've got to change the gears up in it. Now, I found so I've got to change them around because these engines run around my layout pretty easily without any hassles, but I've got to fix them up. And that's the guy that does all the European trains, like the Fleischmann, the Roco, and Markland, and that sort of stuff here in Australia. He has actually got young guy in there, or youngish guy there now that does all 3-rail conversions. And it's pretty good at it too, what I've been told. But I'm amazed. I went in there to get these gears, and it didn't have any on the shelf. And I wanted them, like, basically go to the shop, buy them, come home, and do the work. And here's these two customers in the shop, and they go, but you can get them online. I come up here to buy from the shops, from the brick and mortar place. I don't want to get online. I want to get it now. Well, if I can't get them here, I'll go to Sydney. And Vic, the owner of the shop, goes, well, hang on a minute. I think we've got a couple of packs in the back. Just wait here. Why does everybody just keep saying go online when you're going out, got the brick and mortar store and you want to support the retailer? I just couldn't believe it. I mean, here's these two people say, oh, you can get it online. I don't want to get it online. Now, they did have a set. I believe it's one of the new passenger sets from is it a Roche bun or whatever it is that Roco's just made. They've done a full set. It's like the Austrian railjet that you got. This guy is actually selling a set, or this is selling a set. It is worth $2,500 in Roco. It's got the same amount of cars as my railjet there that Anthony's showing now.
You wish.
I'm telling you, I'm going to get it. Sooner or later, that is going to run on my layout.
It won't work on your layout. You'll fry your layout out.
I'll get it running on my layout. That's not a problem in the world.
Yeah. But anyhow, this is answering Edward's question there. Those are my two favorites right there. The Austrian railjet in the reds, maroon and gray, dark gray, and then the Czech railjet in the two shades of blue and white. Those are my two favorite liveries or color schemes for trains.
Right he's got his spy to come over here to pick up that railjet of mine to run it on his, because he likes that color scheme. Not what I do too. But you can have the blue one. You can have the Czech one there.
I can have them both. I have them both.
Yeah, you
have a railjet, Artie. You have a railjet up there.
Yeah.
You have one. The only rail J you're getting from me is if I decide to sit down and draw and color a picture for you. And even then it'll suck because I can't draw worth a damn. Even my stick figures need help.
That we do though. I mean, yeah, definitely. It's like your poor passengers. They needed help too. Snip.
It really pisses me off because everybody in my family, my mom, my dad, my 3 sisters, my brother, had various levels of very good drawing and painting skills, artistic visual art skills. Joyce can draw. My 2 daughters can draw. Even my son can draw. And for somehow the artistic drawing gene completely skipped me. I cannot draw worth a damn. And my grandson, what's he do? He hands me pen and paper and says, draw Mickey Mouse. Okay, 3 circles. And I still, it still looks like Mickey Mouse maybe had been doing crack for a few years.
What Kai's trying to tell you? You need practice in drawing.
I practiced as a kid, and I've only gotten worse. The more practice, the worse my drawing is. That was one of the best things in all my career is I would draw stuff on the board for my students, and I would say, guys, prepare for the worst drawings you've ever seen. And everything was always stick drawings and stick figures, and just I would make the stick figures look as goofy as possible because I couldn't draw, so I might as well make it look silly, and it became legend with my students.
Yeah, I think even this guy here struggles with doing that too. Leo. I used to be
I can paint walls. I do construction paint as well as anybody on the planet Earth. Joyce and I have painted multiple we've painted every room in this house at least once. This basement, I think, is on its 4th color. And Joyce, I've taught Joyce to cut, and she cuts very well. And I can cut as well. And my mom was really good with interior, so I'm great at drywalling and painting that way. But when it comes to doing something that has a remote level of creative visual art to it, forget it.
See, when it comes to drawing and coloring, I wasn't too bad when doing like technical drawing, like machinery and whatnot, or bridges or structure or whatnot. I was good at doing that. But when it came to doing scenery, doing humans, animals, stuff like that, no.
And but the thing is, they're related because we call it painting, but it really is, it's micro muscle management versus macro. You are doing 2 totally different things when you're painting a wall versus fine painting. It's fine motor skills and macro motor skills. It's a totally different set of skills. So even though we call them both painting, they are 2 totally different sets of skills.
And that's even like with music. Like with me doing music when in my younger days and whatnot, it's the same with that. I could play a musical instrument, but playing a musical instrument and singing at the same time, no, I could not do that. Or playing a musical instrument and talking to someone, I couldn't do that. I used to, even to this day, it put me off.
Well, that's the other side. My dad had a beautiful singing voice. My mom could sing. My girls have good voices. My sisters could sing, but my brother and I, our voices are fingernails on, but that doesn't stop me from singing. In fact, that is the big romantic thing when people always ask, what do you like most about Joyce? Well, a couple of things come to mind, but then I stop those thoughts and I say, the greatest thing is what's the greatest compliment I can say to Joyce is it's a simple little compliment. She lets me sing. For 40 years, she has let me sing. Not once in her life has she ever said, oh my God, honey, stop. And people who have watched our parody songs when I would sing know how bad my voice is.
I've heard worse.
And maybe you've heard worse. It doesn't matter if you've heard worse. That's like a kick in the balls by a horse isn't as bad as a kick in the balls by an elephant. It's still a kick in the balls.
Yeah.
Um,
My singing
lets me sing.
my singing wasn't too bad until I started smoking. Once I started smoking, I got really that really knocked me about. Joe, if this is the engine that you were talking about, they are made by IDR models. There are still some floating about. You can get them. The guy that will install a chip in it for you, get him to install the chip because it is really finicky inside. I am still going to get some more of them because there were 10 in the fleet. I want to have 10, so I'm going to get the others off him. But yeah, they're a nice switching engine. They're beautiful. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. They are $400 DCC. That's $400 Australian.
The other one's peen, Corey. The other one's peen.
So that works out roughly about. It'd be about close to a $300 mark, Joe. The way the dollar is, 300, about 300 you pay for it, maybe even less, because the American dollar is actually quite strong compared to Australian. Yeah, the American dollar is stronger against the Australian dollar, so you'll get your bang for your buck. Calligraphy for you is out there. Oh, have you tried calligraphy, Happy Valley? Oh man, that's not an easy thing, but I've seen him do it up here. I can send him up to the Muslims not the Muslims, the Buddhists up the road here. They can teach him how to do it. Well, at least you'll be able to get those squiggly lines in. Actually, come to talk about Chinese writing, I did know how to write my name in Chinese once upon a time. Here's Bud Harris. Okay. So yeah, we were yeah, I'm going to get some more of these little switches. They're really brilliant, great little workhorse, and I haven't really had any. It hasn't really failed me. Well, it has stopped once, and I thought it was an issue with the engine, but it's not that. With the automation program that I've got, you can actually do realistic operation to the point where the program will say you can have it say using fuel, and you've got to refuel your train. Because what happens if you don't refuel your car, your train, or your truck? It just stops, doesn't it? Well, this train was going along doing its thing, and it stops, and I'm like, oh, what's going wrong with my train now? Take it off the track, have a look. There's no short in the track. There's power to the track. Put the engine on my test track. It's still running there. Put it on the main layout. It wasn't going. About half an hour later, find out why. Because another train stopped. It ran out of fuel, didn't it? Yeah.
Ooh, it's 9:30.
You're on a hill, and it keeps going. Yeah, well, these were actually hydraulically driven, so they would have had a lot of fun going down the hill. Anyway, well, we had a nice little show here. We talked about everything again.
Yeah. Someday we'll actually talk about trains. Actually, we talked a little bit about trains too.
We have talked about trains. We did. Yeah, because I did say, remember, I did mention that well, I did talk about the tempo, that it was train related.
Right.
Yeah. Like where they originally came from to get to their temple, you got the home temple. You got to catch a train and get to it. I'll keep looking for the photos and I'll see if I can dig them up.
We should. Joyce and I should find a couple of cool scenic train rides while we're in Australia.
Oh, there's a couple of nice ones nearby here.
Right. Yeah.
There's two nice ones up in the Blue Mountains. So we have the speakers.
No, we said in Australia.
When you're here.
Sorry, there's Blue Mountains in other places.
I'm talking about our Blue Mountains, okay? Ours are the real McCoy, okay? It's where the Three Sisters hang out, okay? Now, where the three sisters are, you got the steepest railway in the southern hemisphere there, and you can go for a train ride on it. And not far from that, we got the zigzag.
Yeah, I mentioned my three sisters. Santa Claus used to sing about them.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, ho ho ho.
Oh, those three sisters. Oh, were they your sisters? Oh, okay.
They were everybody's sisters.
Yeah, they were. But anyway, now I'm hoping to see some of you people during the week. I have got a busy schedule again this week. If I'm in, I'm in. If I'm not, then I'm sorry. Again, I apologize. It's not that I don't want to go and see your videos, people. It's just with the time zones and everything else that's going on, it's clashing with my appointments and whatnot. I cannot make it. So I'm very, very sorry. I will catch up eventually to some of you, particularly the people that are doing live streams like Heath and some of the other ones. I will gradually get in there. But yeah, I'm still here. I'm not ignoring your channels. It's just life. Life matters. Life. So until next week, next weekend, everyone have fun, stay safe, look after each other.
Yeah, you can have fun until next week, and then the fun has to stop, according to Artie.
I didn't say you have to stop.
You just did. You said until next week, have fun.
Yeah, let me start all over again.
No, it would then be continuing. Have fun, and we will see you next week.
Okay, sorry, sir. I mean, yeah, I'm sorry.
Damn straight.
Yeah.
These Aussies, they always get everything.
Oh, I don't know. They say this. They're really. I mean, you just don't understand like my mother, correcting me when I was talking Hungarian. Yeah. Anyway,
well, that's okay. You can talk the Hungarian all you want, and I won't correct you.
Thank God.
I won't understand you, but I won't correct you.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, guys, it's been great fun. So everyone, have fun, stay safe. Until next weekend.
Toodles.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.